Hey guys, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Um, Another week able to get out there, on Sunday and get back with the guys. And then, as you guys know, today's our normal day off. We feel like a little bit of normalcy, if there is such a thing. But excited for Stephen F. Austin. You talk about a competitive team that's on a hot streak. They've had a lot of success. They lead the country in turnovers. We know they're going to bring it. They got a lot of D1 transfers, so our guys are focused at this game just like they would any other. We got to finish up strong academically as exams start later this week. So it's where a lot of our focus is as well. But proud of our guys' mindset. We just got to keep churning along. I know there's going to be questions about the scheduling as well. We're still waiting to hear back on the conference and hope to hear something hopefully in the next 48 hours on any other scheduling updates.
Mark, first question.
Hey, Ryan. This is unrelated to the game. There's a report out there from USA Today in which Peter Parrish is named in it as being a former LSU player who was accused of rape while he was at LSU. Can you comment at all on the process that you guys went through in terms of granting him a transfer to come to Memphis?
Yeah, Mark. So, with all of our student athletes here at the university and obviously in all of our athletic department and hopefully all of our students, we're confident in our process, very thorough in the way we vet these young men. And then, for all of it, just like with any other student athlete, we don't go into the details about what that process looked like for each individual. And I think reality, Mark, I think that's the school-wide policy as well. So for each individual student athlete, we don't talk about what that process is like. Gotcha.
So there was, I'm going to follow up here. There was no concern that LSU ultimately deemed him, they suspended him, for a year regarding this incident.
Like I said, with all of our student athletes, we do a thorough investigation and process, just like with anybody, even our current young men that are committed to us. We're constantly vetting and thorough in those process. And, we stand with all of our student athletes. And I assume the rest of the sports, I know the rest of our sports do so as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Terry?
Hey, Coach, since you had a week off, technically, how's the injury report coming for you guys? How healthy are you guys getting?
Yeah, the biggest question is you guys are probably is TJ Carter. He was able to get out on the field quite a bit more, so excited about his progress. I do believe, fingers crossed, that we'll be able to get to see TJ out on the field this Saturday at the Liberty Bowl. And then another thing I do think, there's a guy named John Cartwright. I don't know if you guys remember. He maybe listed Cecil Cartwright in the depth chart, but he was a guy that we originally thought was going to be lost for the season with a surgery after the first game, and excited. So I don't want you guys to be surprised if you happen to see him out on the field there on Saturday as well. So he's recovered well. Surgery went great. He's done way ahead of schedule on his rehabilitation. So I just, always want to keep you guys aware. So that's another name to look for on the defensive line.
Stephen?
Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Good, Stephen. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I haven't checked the line yet, but obviously you guys are probably going to enter the game as a big favorite. How do you approach that in terms of making sure the team has the right mindset, they're taking this team as serious as they would at Cincinnati or UCF, et cetera?
We constantly talk about the next game being the most important. And, look, I don't know if anybody watched our game versus South Florida. And, we're lighting the world on fire right now. We've got a lot of work to do ourselves. So, like I said, it doesn't matter if we're playing the number one team in the country or whoever it may be, whoever comes to town. We're going to take every opponent very seriously. Look, there's a reason they've won so many games in a row, Stephen F. has. So they're going to give everything they can. This is the last game of their season, so they're going to fire all their bullets. So our guys are well aware that this team's going to come and give us everything they have. And, like with all this stuff, we got to continue to focus on improving ourselves. If we go out there and challenge ourselves to get better, this week in our practices, we'll hopefully we like the results. But that's going to be the same message we're going to send every week, regardless of who our opponent is.
Evan?
Ryan, just to be clear, to go back to Mark's question, in your intra-press conference, you mentioned how much this is a program that will obviously respect women now. We have priority, and I believe what you said. With that said, how does that reconcile with, bringing in someone like Parrish who does have this kind of following him, with this investigation with LSU?
Look, like I said, we always vet thoroughly all of our student athletes when we bring into our program, and we will continue to do so. That will always stand by that, and that will never change as long as I'm the head coach here. So, look, that's what there's going to be guys that that we're going to bring into this next signing class that will continue to bring to our program as far as transfers. But yeah, like I said, we won't comment on individual student athletes and our investigation.
As far as your protocol, though, as far as that being a standard that you want to set at this program, how is that used as far as vetting, as far as making sure that, that standard is upheld per your own words from December?
Yeah, I think just like with any student athlete, Evan, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's. We want to make sure, obviously, it's going to start with their academics, make sure they're the type of student athlete we want to bring in here that's going to handle himself in the classroom. And then we check on things that occur in their life. We talk to their guidance counselor, we talk to their high school coaches, our other coaches. That's just those things that we continue to do. We try to be as thorough as we can.
Cassie?
Hey, Coach, much of the concern after the past couple games has been the run game. With the off week, what kind of strides do you think you guys made, and how did you address it?
Yeah, Cassie, you're exactly right. Like I always said, the failures in the run game start with me, and we've got to find a better way. We've looked at it. I always say, are we doing too much in our scheme? Are we not doing enough? What can I do to allow our guys to continue to better execute? And I always say, it starts with the guys up front. But it ultimately comes down to the play calling and make sure I'm putting our guys in the right position to run the ball effectively, from our running backs to the receivers blocking the tight ends. All those things come in. So we've really stressed it. We know it's something we're going to need to be able to do. I think one of the things, again, we haven't been able to run the ball as well in the first half, and then we've gotten behind in some of these games. And so, with having to, throw the ball more in the fourth quarter, that may have hurt our run game numbers. I try to, as you guys all know, we try to be as balanced as we can, but sometimes the game's going to dictate that as well. If you go back, we watch some of that film, especially our last two games, teams are playing us with one high safety low in the box and forcing us to throw the football. And it's allowed for guys like Calvin Austin that continue to emerge, Taj, Washington, guys of those nature, Javon Ivory, and maybe getting the backs out. You guys saw Kylan Watkins was a receiving threat out of the backfield. So we're going to have to continue to find ways, Cassie, but again, I've got to be more creative in my run game scheme and make sure that we're doing things the right way.
Jerry?
Hey, Coach, what gives you pause about the Lumberjacks?
So I think anytime you look at a team that's coming in, I believe they've won, Terry, 5 in a row. And that means they're coming in hot. And also, this is their last game of their season. They're going to lay it all on the line. This is their Super Bowl. They're excited to come to Memphis and play us. Ryan Ivey, their athletic director, I believe, played here at the University of Memphis. So that's going to be another thing of interest of note. They've got a hungry team. They play hard. They're well coached. Like I said, with them leading the country in turnovers, we know they're going to get everything they can handle. I mean, they got 2 DNs that come off the edge. They got a big, tall quarterback that's able to sling it. I just think, look, we know they're going to give us everything. We got to expect the unexpected. And just like with any game, there's angst, and know that we better be ready come Saturday, 11 a.m.
Clayton?
Hey, Coach. Just across the country with COVID-19 cases on the rise, and the large number of canceled games over the first couple or postponed over the first few weeks, is there a concern for you at all, just in terms of nerve-wracking? I believe it was somewhere in the 70 range for the entire season. Now we're seeing 25 to 30 in the first couple weeks here in November.
Yeah, Clayton, it's you're always going to be concerned. It's one of those things that can't be, okay, oh, we feel like we got over the hump, or in September, we're good. No, I mean, it's constantly encouraging our guys, wearing the mask, making sure they're taking the right precautions. My players are probably sick and tired of me, anytime they get a free moment, us sending them a group message, make sure you're making great decisions, make sure you're being smart, and we're constantly, and you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, but as we've seen, right, this COVID can affect anybody. I mean, we've seen people that have been homebound for 2 months and then all of a sudden get it, so you just we're constantly on it. Yeah, I'm on edge. It just adds to all the other things that are occurring this 2020 football season. But Clayton, the biggest thing is just constantly educating and talking to our guys about it, being transparent. I believe it was 25% of college football games were canceled this past weekend. We're seeing some of these other teams that are already canceling going into next. But for me, again, it's going to come down to the health and safety of our guys. Before playing the game. But we're continuing to take the right precautions. We're still testing 3 times a week, as you guys are well aware of, and keeping our fingers crossed that we can stay healthy and ready to roll.
Thank you.
Steven?
Ryan, this offense has been very productive, but we all been kind of noting that a couple slow starts. So how do you feel the offense has kind of progressed in terms of being able to start quickly? And what are you going to be looking forward in maybe the first quarter or that second quarter starting off this week?
Yeah, Steven, you're exactly right. I mean, I used the word I think last week with you guys is we just been inconsistent as an offense, right? I mean, there's times where you watch us and you'll say, okay, if we could just put together like a lot of college teams hope they could, blitz and pieces, you'd say, wow, they're really effective and efficient. And we haven't been as consistent lately with what we want to do. And that's one of those things we just got to continue to work on. Like I told you guys, we're going to start even tomorrow's practice, right, with more competition, go straight from stretch to some good on good. I think that hopefully will help. I've, asked the coaching staff for hopefully finding better answers. But those are all things we got to continue to do moving forward. We talked about the slow start. So one of these things with some extra time, I know Terry mentioned, the quote unquote bye week last week. So we did some self scout and, I watched our first 4 games, those opening drives and guys, don't quote me on this, but the first game was whether it be a 10-play drive, the next game, a 9-play drive, the next game, a 12-play and then an 11-play drive. So, it wasn't as if I was like, man, are we not scheming correctly to start games or there's something we got to change? So, you look at your first 4 games and you're having 40 plays in your opening drive. I mean, averaging 10 plays an opening drive. That's pretty darn good. It means you like your game plan and you're able to move the ball down the field. Obviously, we'd love more explosives, but something has occurred in those last few games where we weren't able to do so. We got to continue to explore it, Steven. The biggest thing for us is just being consistent, right? Being able to – we can't get penalties. We can't get lost yardage. Like Cassie already asked, getting the running game and going in the right direction. I think all those things are things we've got to explore and allow us to start fast. And so I do want us to see us coming out of the gates. You guys know I'll probably defer if we have the chance to win the opening toss or win the toss, but we'll figure it out from there.
Evan?
Ryan, with this game being a non-conference game so late in the year, it's something that hasn't really been a thing for Memphis. You guys have always played conference games in November. How do you try to obviously the game plan for this game is still important, but how do you try to, shift that focus for, trying to, get back to that AAC title game, but also making sure you don't obviously overlook this non-conference opponent that's in the middle of the season basically, or this late in the season?
Yeah, Evan, the reality of it is that's 100% of our focus is on this game and nothing different, right? We're not, trying to hide anything from our game plan. We've got to, prepare for this one just like we would all the other games. So this is the next one, and that's 100% of our players, our coaches focuses on that. Who knows? Is it the end of the season or just in the middle? Because, right, with some of the scheduling stuff, we may continue to add games. And figure this thing out. So, but it's the next one on it. Yes, we're used to playing some of our non-conference early, but we're excited to go play, right? I mean, I think with what's occurred this season, Evan, look, it's just another chance to go out there and play football, which our guys are excited about.
Ryan?
Hey, Coach, I want to shift to recruiting real quick. You guys are having a fantastic year, with your recruiting class. What do you guys have left? What are you looking for to finalize this class? And the second part to that is how important is it to hold on to the guys that you have during this pandemic?
Yeah, Brian, I think we're always, keep our eyes open, right? It's my job, our job as our staff to bring the best players we possibly can into our program. And, we like our commitments, we know that other teams are constantly hitting them up, trying to get them to flip and be committed to their school or change their mind on signing day. We're constantly watching their film to make sure that we've got the right people that we want coming into our program. And so those are those things where it's a constant evaluation, right? We spend time, at nights making sure we're on the phone, watching film, doing what we need to. to make sure we're searching all over to make sure we got the right guys. And it's an ongoing battle. Like I tell our guys every day, it's recruiting is a year-round process. It's really one of those things. Even when we get a few days here or there in the summer, it's a 365-day thing. And so, look, we're going to constantly keep searching. Brian, the interesting thing will be what's going to happen. As we well know, now this transfer portal is taking on its life of its own. What's the NCAA going to do with their proposals, right? Is this one-time transfer going to open up? Are they going to allow, more than your 25 initials? I mean, all those things we're anxiously waiting to figure out what the NCAA is going to say, and that will also dictate some of how our recruiting looks.
Evan? Kind of on that note, Ryan, have you started talking to guys and getting a beat on kind of what they want to do with that extra year, or if guys are going to leave, or when do you plan on having those conversations, either next month or end of the year? How does that work with you?
Yeah, Evan, I'd like to, is that thought and been in my mind? Sure, it absolutely has, and I think this past week being able to sit back and kind of look at our roster, as we've mentioned, we use the word more than we ever fathomed we would, especially in 2020, but it's going to be roster management, from here on out with the way everything's going to occur. So Evan, I've been able to sit back, look at our roster and say, okay, what are the guys that possibly could come back? But I also don't want to take away from this season, right? Every game is so important, and every day. So I don't want to sit there and have to have those conversations, and then all of a sudden someone starts focusing their mind to something that's not right in front of them. And I've got some ideas. I've had some casual conversations briefly with people, but certainly no answers have been given. Nobody sat down and and as we know in this day and age, I'm sure we'll all find out at the same time on social media if somebody decides to do something. So as of right now, I can't plan like anybody's coming back. We just got to go forward with what we have, and we'll see what happens when the dust settles.